So, your character going about doing a day-to-day life. It's like a random fucking Tuesday, right? Random Tuesday, middle of the week. Your character's on the way to class. Georgie is on the way to class. As soon as Georgie takes his next step, his or her,
Georgie's a girl.
as soon as she takes her next step, the world suddenly feels like it isn't real, and like her body doesn't quite fit. A bright light forces her to close her eyes. As suddenly as it all started, it stops, though everything seems too quiet, aside from the buzz of electrical lighting, which was a far cry from the sounds that had been around you before.
Yeah,
Now
she was like walking down the little suburban street, so fluorescent flickering doesn't exactly sound right in this situation.
she's walking down the street, and all of a sudden, everything just starts. Her skin starts to feel like itchy, like it's not fitting on her body quite right, and like her bones feel like too small or too big. Just like it feels really uncomfortable, but not painful. Just sudden,
Autistic Ehlers-Danlos rep, let's go.
right? uh, as soon as, as soon as like it started, all of a sudden it stopped, and then there's just this quiet, quiet buzz, like the sound of like electricity coursing through the walls, but just a little bit louder than that. Now that the bright light flash of light is gone, she can open her eyes. All around her, she can see only yellowed wallpaper with a kind of chevron pattern to it. Underfoot is squishy tan carpet. It's almost soggy, and the air around feels humid and musty. You are clearly somewhere new. The large room she is in has multiple gaps in the wall where she can see more rooms beyond. Everything is illuminated by fluorescent flickering lights. What is your character gonna do from here?
Well, she kind of just stands there for a second and like gets embarrassed because she's not gonna assume like, oh, I just no clipped into a place that doesn't exist. No, she's like, shit, I was how the fuck. I clearly was not paying attention to where I was walking. This is embarrassing. How did I even get in here? Like, where did I wander in from? This all looks the same. How long was I zoning out for?
All
Like that
right.
type of situation.
As Georgie is just standing there, slowly the sound of the lights above start to get a little bit louder. Not super loud, but enough for Georgie to suddenly take notice of the noise.
She looks up at the lights and she just sees like they're flickering and stuff, and she's like confused, and so she's like, well, clearly I've accidentally stumbled into some sort of like unfinished office. They probably just haven't finished the construction yet. I'll just try and find someone who's not construction but like renovation type situation, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So she's like, I'll just like wander around and try and find someone who works here.
Okay. Is she going to move into the next room? I'm assuming.
Yes.
All right. So that is what.
You're so smart for this map function. This is crazy. I've never seen something like this before. It's so cool.
Okay, you can actually click and drag your character to where you want them to travel to.
Okay, well she's like, that's weird and unnecessary for it to end like that. Oh well, it goes to the next room.
Okay, which direction is she gonna go from here?
Uh,
She'll be able to see about here.
she's just she's no survival instincts in this one. She's just wondering.
Okay. As Georgie is continuing to explore, that that buzz that she was hearing is only getting louder.
She's like a little bit annoyed, possibly getting a little bit overstimulated, um, and just irked and like, why do they have all the lights on if no one's here? And she's like, you know what? This isn't leading anywhere. So maybe I need to backtrack. So she starts heading back.
Okay? As she's continuing to move, that buzzing sound is just getting louder and louder, and it's starting to form a migraine in her mind.
She's like really anxious now and just wishing she um like could figure out where she was going. She hits a dead end. She gets really frustrated. She starts backtracking again. Gets annoyed because it all looks the same. Another empty room continues.
As she enters this room, she is able to see that there is starting to be some like office supplies just around the area.
She like goes up to it, and what does she see?
She's going to
Like what
find
office supplies?
random knocked over office chairs and some occasionally like old wooden desks that look like they have been well used. There is wear and tear in the tops where people had been writing. Some of the drawers have been completely yanked out and are missing. Some of the drawers, if they are open, they just have holes in the bottom, but there's nothing like as far as like actual supplies, like there's no water, there's no paper, there's no pens. Nothing that you would think you would find is in this area. Just
She is
random chairs
suddenly
and
very
tables.
comfortable and very like confused and like feels like this really unsettling feeling. She stops in this hallway and is like trying to clear her mind and just she starts running. She's incredibly uncomfortable. She doesn't know how she got here. And something about the way that the old old furniture is just like um something about the way that it's just there with no rhyme or reason, and it's how old it is in this completely empty building. She doesn't feel safe. She feels like something bad happened.
As she is continuing to explore, that headache that from that buzz is just getting worse and worse. It's starting to form a migraine.
She just stops and just like wanders over to the corner of the room she's currently in. No idea which room that is. She ran, which was a bad decision because now she's thoroughly lost, and she just stands in the corner and leans against the wall and is just like trying to recollect her thoughts and figure out what to do next.
Georgie finds that her thoughts are a bit hard to sort through as the pain throbs in her skull. But there is nothing. There's nobody. There is no other noise. Other than the water is soaked into the carpet underfoot, there's no water. There has been no food on any of the tables. Even the rooms that look like they might have possibly been a break room instead of like an office room, so they didn't have any food in them.
Well, at this point, she's realizing something. She has to have, like, obviously something's wrong. She clearly went somewhere where she wasn't supposed to. And so she, grits her teeth, gets back up, and keeps going because eventually she's gonna have to find someone who works here and she's gonna, like, get in trouble or whatever for being back here, but she doesn't care because she just wants to get out. Dead end. She gets frustrated, turns around.
As she enters this room, she finds that there is like an arrow right here. Where is my button? There it is. Like right here. There's just this arrow pointing towards this hallway down there. Like it's
Which
warning.
way is it pointing? It doesn't show very well on my screen. It just looks like a scribble. Oh, okay, there it is. I see.
Yeah.
So this way.
Yep.
So she notices it and thinks, "Oh, so there's graffiti back here. Hopefully that's not a sign that this place is not in use and there's no one here. But I'm gonna follow the arrow because this is the only clue I've gotten as to where to go so far."
As she continues, there are more and more arrows on the walls, all in like bright red paint. It doesn't look like blood, but
It's clearly pain.
all right. And as she enters this last room, she finds that it's not like any of the other ones. The walls are covered in scribbling saying, "You are not alone. You are safe here. You are not alone. Come find us." And then on one of the walls is a giant M with a dot, and then an E and a dot, and a G and a dot. In the center of the room, there is a large office table with desk chairs around. The table has a moderate stack of papers sitting atop it at the center of the table.
Well, she's freaking out, obviously, but she goes over to the papers and it's like, am I stumbling across a cult? She's investigating or something because she's like, oh my god, there's Satanists in here because it's the 80s, but it's not actually 80s, but
The
the
first
Satanic Panic.
the first paper on the top of the stack has that same MEG written in the top corner, but it looks like the paper has been typed and printed. Something that looked a little nicer than what Georgie was used to, like somebody from one of the richest families in the world at the time had used one of their very nice, fancy printers to write up and type these papers.
She's kind of she's very confused, but she continues reading.
That first paper begins by saying, "Welcome, wanderer. Welcome to the Backrooms." Now, you may be confused, and I'm sure your head hurts by this point, but I promise you, you are safe. We do not know how you got here. We do not know what started any of this, but we can tell you that you can find us. That is all that is written on that top paper. And the next paper
She's
is
starting to look for how to find them now.
the next paper is about something called no clipping. And the next paper after that seems to be a description of the place that Georgie is in now. On the top of
just
it,
for sorry. Just for immersive purposes, how is the no clipping described? Because if it's described in video game terms, she's not gonna understand.
the no clipping is described like something out of a sci-fi novel, like it's teleporting. There's multiple
Oh,
different sheets that describes the no clipping. Some of it is framed in a way that somebody from the 1700s could understand. Some of the pages are framed in a way that somebody from the 80s or 90s, somebody who's starting to learn what technology is, can understand. And then there's some pages that just flat out explain what no clipping is. And then there's some pages that are set for people who are like, what is on that paper just does not make any sense to anybody because it's just so out of the realm of what anybody can even understand.
So she's like really confused and thinks this is like really strange and contradictory, so she just skips over the no clipping part.
The next page is going to be about, it seems to describe the area that Georgie has found herself in. On the top of it, it says level 0. Would you like me to read the what the page says on it?
Yeah, she's thinking this is like by level 0, it's like floor 0 or something. Like she's in a basement somehow. And she continues reading.
All right. The page reads as so. Level 0 is an expansive, non Euclidean space resembling the backrooms of a dated retail outlet. The level is known most prominently for its disorienting layout and distinctive yellow wallpaper. All rooms in Level 0 share the same superficial features with worn, moist carpeting, scattered electrical outlets, and inconsistently placed lighting. Aside from these qualities, no two rooms in the level are the same, with each area differing significantly in shape and layout. The constant hum buzz emitted by the ceiling lights permeates throughout every area of Level 0, being notably louder and more obtrusive than ordinary fluorescent lighting. The buzz tends to induce throbbing migraines in most individuals, which persists for an extended period of time even after one has left the level. As the level is devoid of hostile threats, the only danger that Level 0 possesses is the evident lack of available resources, with many wanderers perishing as a result of dehydration, exhaustion, or starvation. Linear space and topology are significantly altered within Level 0, with it being possible to walk in a straight line, return to the starting point, and end up in a different set of rooms than the one was in beforehand. Such properties cause the level to be extremely disorienting in layout, with research suggesting that the confusion may be the underlying cause of loss of mental stability among individuals. Due to
Real
the
quick,
bare yes.
I'm hearing a lot of thunder outside, so if I disappear, there might be a really big storm.
You're all good. We had one earlier today too, so
Okay, continue.
due to the barren layout and confounding structure of level 0, some individuals report experiencing intense visual and auditory hallucinations, with rare cases reporting wanderers descending into utter lunacy as a result of the level's properties. That is where the page ends. On the top right corner of the page, it has the number 1 written in a almost like the 1 is behind the text, and on top of the just above the 1 it says class 1.
She's scared shitless. She's like, what the fuck is going on? Why are they saying hostile? Worrying about the lunacy and the stuff, and she's like, I gotta get over, dude. This is not swag. I'm scared.
The next page after, in big bold letters, says read no clipping.
She ups and gets frustrated and goes and reads them again.
All right. The no clipping page basically just describes how to close your eyes, focus on yourself, focus on what feels like static, the same kind of feeling that she felt as she arrived at the level. How everything kind of felt out of proportion, like the world wasn't real, kind of like dissociating almost, but not quite.
Yeah. Derealizing.
And at the end of the page, it tells her that this is how you travel out of this area. This is how you escape the space. But there is also a solid stack of more papers underneath the papers that she has read so far. She can
She wants to
read
get
them.
out of here as oops, sorry.
You're good. She can read them, she can take them with her, or she can just abandon it wholly.
she wants to get out of here as soon as possible, but she's also very paranoid and very studious. And so she decides to take a deep breath, even though her head hurts a lot, and continue reading.
All right. So let's see. Your character will read and have access to. Let's see, where is it? She will have the knowledge for levels 1 through 8, as well as level 15 and another level called Fun,
Oh, okay.
which gives her
So do
no
I.
more information about the current level that she is in. However, it will tell her that it will show her that either she's going to find all of these people absolutely crazy because it was in the exact same style as the level 0 entry she had just read, or that she is no longer in the world that she believes she was in.
Yeah. Uh, do I make a note on my
Um,
character sheet that she knows these things?
yes. So that will be for I also wrote it down. But for your character notes, you can write that down as well. If you want to read those levels, you are absolutely open to, but I wouldn't read anything else if your character hadn't read them. So,
I write that in the notes section.
yes.
Okay, so doing that really quickly. Knows about.
All right. As your character takes the next step, the world suddenly feels like it isn't real and like your body doesn't quite fit. A bright light forces you to close your eyes, and as suddenly as it started, it stops. Though everything seems too quiet aside from the buzz of electrical lighting, which was a far cry from the sounds that had been around you before. Now that the bright flash of light is gone, you can open your eyes. All around you, you can only see yellowed wallpaper with a kind of chevron pattern to it. Underfoot is squishy tan carpet. It's almost soggy. The air around you feels humid and smells musty. You are clearly somewhere new. The large room you are in has multiple gaps in the wall where you can see more rooms beyond. Everything is illuminated by fluorescent, flickering lights. And that is the
Okay.
introduction of your character to being into the backrooms.
Okay. I assume this is a wall.
Yes. So, where's
Okay.
where's my pointer?
Looking around, I see only one exit.
Yes, this room only has one exit. There was originally supposed to be more, and I just did not.
All right. So he's going to do his basic Midwestern corn maze strat and just always go left.
As your character starts to walk around, there's the buzzing slowly starts to become louder and uncomfortable. Your head starts to hurt as if a migraine was forming. There is nothing in this room.
All right. Powering through it, continuing every left. And I take it that's a wall.
Yes, that is a wall.
Okay. Trying to see any sign of people while I'm casually strolling.
There is no sign of people. In fact, it almost seems like the rooms are emptier than they should be. Like maybe somebody had been there not too long ago, so it wasn't quite abandoned, but definitely didn't seem like anybody had been there, at least in that day.
Okay.
In this next room, that buzzing begins to grow louder again as your head begins to pound even more. There is now a random office chair just strewn on the floor, but nothing else.
The first thing you're adding is the cuck chair.
Correct.
Skirting around. We gotta clip that for Jake.
Which is so sad because Jake can't join this.
I know. All right, continuing, hugging the left.
In this next room, the buzzing continues to grow louder. But there is now more items around the room. This time there's 2 office chairs and what seems to be an old desk from probably back from when your character was a child themselves. It's broken in half and laying on the ground.
I'm just gonna look, see if there's anything still in or on the desk.
There is nothing in or on the desk, and the drawers to the desk all look like either mice have chewed through it or that mold has just absolutely torn through it, and there's just a hole from the top drawer all the way to the bottom of the desk.
All right, I am not touching that. Continuing to hug the left wall. At least the chair got himself a girlfriend.
There seems to be nothing in this room, but that buzzing is continuing to grow louder and more obtrusive. It is now impossible to ignore the pounding in your head.
All right, nothing to do but power through. All right, dead end.
Yes.
All right, continuing to hug left.
In this next room, there are now 2 broken desks and a bookshelf that has been toppled over so that the front of the shelving unit is on the ground and it's just the solid back. But there's multiple holes poked through it, like rats had chewed through it.
All right, I'm just gonna peek in through the holes. Is it empty or is there something in there?
It is empty.
All right, ignoring, hugging left.
There is nothing new in this room either. It is completely empty.
Nice.
Come on, let me. As you continue to walk, you seem to be noticing that these rooms almost seem like they had been built into each other.
Very few right angles.
Yes, very few. Well, at least in this part. As you're
Yeah.
continuing to walk, there is now a filing cabinet in this little hallway area that you're entering.
This area or this area?
The area you were in previously. The one that the second one that you did.
Oh, okay.
There is once again nothing in the filing cabinet.
Okay, saves me time. All right, dead end.
Yes.
All right, hugging left.
As you continue to walk, that buzzing is now causing that throbbing to affect your vision. It is now getting harder to see.
All right. Still got to power through it.
There is nothing to find in this room that you are in.
By now, I'm just using my hand on the wall.
In this last room, as you're walking around the wall, you run straight into a desk that is also, once again, broken. There is
Clef?
there is nothing in the desk.
Okay. And go around the wall. All right. Another dead end.
Yes.
Okay.
In this room, you find 2 filing cabinets, but the drawers are already pulled completely open, and some of them are even thrown completely out of the filing cabinet.
Okay. Nothing of any use in them.
Nope, there is nothing in them. In this next room, the buzzing has now become so loud you literally cannot hear anything else. Not that there was anything to hear aside from it.
All right, dead end. And dead end.
It's
with an M.
In this room, wow, I can't talk. You walk into yet another room. This one is smaller than the others. In the center of the room is a large office table with a desk desk chairs around. The table has a moderate stack of papers sitting atop the center.
Okay, I will investigate the papers.
At first, the papers seem to have nothing but a bunch of gibberish on it until you come across a handwritten note. It reads, "You are probably confused. I can't tell you much, but I can tell you that you aren't in the real world you know anymore. You can find more information by continuing to read the other papers in the stack. Don't discount the information. All of it is real."
All right, I will continue reading. All right.
There's a couple
Well, if
of
I
more
have no hope of this.
documents. You are welcome to take them, but at this point, your migraine has affected your vision so badly you can't really read anything other than the very next page, which describes to you the sensation of how to no clip. Basically, it describes how to close your eyes and focus on that same feeling that you got when you arrived in this area, that sensation of your skin not quite fitting on your bones and joints properly, how there was this bright flash of light, and how to try and find that sensation within yourself and create it for yourself.
Like how I got in here in the first place.
Yes. Now there is a couple of more stacks of papers underneath it. You are welcome to take those papers to read later, or you can abandon them completely.
Oh no, I'll shove them in my messenger bag.
All right.
Next to the package that goes to Site 19 that I don't know what has in it.
Then
My mission, deliver the mail.
Then after we conclude in this this session, I will be sending you a couple of links to that will be the level files that your character picked up.
Oh, okay.
And this is the end of the session. At the end of the session, your character successfully no clips into the next level, where it will meet up with the other characters that will be in our campaign.
Trying to replicate the thing I did to get in here, failing to escape.
to assume your character eventually figures
this
it
is gonna
out.
be this is gonna be a fun origin story.
All right. Now I need you to roll 2d20s for me.
Okay. That is a 2 and a 20.
So 22.
Oh, okay. You're looking for the total. Got it.
Yes, I'm looking for the total of 2d20s. So let's see. Let's start out with a little like background into your character. What was your character doing before, right up till the point that they ended up in the Backrooms? Were they like in the middle of their work day? Were they just getting off? Like, what was going on when all of a sudden, step and bam, Backrooms? Okay. So he's out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, and he just poofed. All right, that is some good background. So that sets the tone for like all of his equipment and like what he has on him too. So, all right, as your character takes their next step, the world around them feels like it isn't real, and like their body doesn't quite fit. Like their bones have like either shrunken or were just slightly too large. Their skin felt really itchy. And then there was this bright light that forces them to close their eyes. As suddenly as it all started, it stops, though everything seems too quiet, aside from the buzz of electrical lighting, which is a far cry from the sounds of nature that had been around your character before. Now that the bright flash of light is gone, they can now open their eyes. All around them, they can only see yellowed wallpaper with a kind of chevron pattern to it. Underfoot is squishy tan carpet. It's almost soggy, and the air around them feels humid and smells musty. They are clearly somewhere new. The large room they are in has a single entrance and exit in the wall where they can see. Everything is illuminated by fluorescent, flickering lights. What does your character do from here? Alright. So, where does your character go from here then? He's gonna he's gonna find that his watch is still operational, and it was only a minute from the time that it had been before that bright flash of light and a sudden change of scenery. As he touches the ground, he's gonna find that his hands are now absolutely soaked with disgusting carpet water. And then he goes towards the door, which gives this away. The carpet water. Disgusting carpet water just soaking his hands from touching the floor. Yeah, so any of like the little where is the pointer? There it is. Anything like this space right here and this space right here and the space right here and right here, those are all like, it looks like the walls, good job. It looks like the walls have kind of like been built into each other, They should not be the way they are, but you can sneak through some areas or can completely walk straight through some other areas. Basically, yeah. The next area that your character sees, is completely devoid of anything. It is just more soggy carpet and yellowed walls, and a few more exits and entrances. Okay, which. Right. Okay. Okay. This room has a single desk in it. There are no chairs, no other furniture, just the desk. Mom. Yes, I'll get you more in just a minute, Bubba. Give me just a minute. This desk looks kind of like broken down. It's sitting like right about here. And there doesn't seem to be much to it other than just an old broken desk. Alright, when they go to examine the desk, there isn't anything in it. It's just broken, and the singular drawer that had been in it is missing completely, but nowhere to be seen. It's broken down the middle. It's literally like two halves of a desk that are sitting on the floor. Yeah, it's broken. There is nothing else to find in that room. In this room, there are a few more pieces of furniture in here. There are a couple of like what look to be filing cabinets that are old and rusty and missing a couple of drawers. And there's a singular chair across the room just on the side. On its side, well. Each drawer that your character opens, it is a struggle to get each drawer open, and once it's open, there's nothing inside, just more rusted metal of the filing cabinets. There's nothing that is found in any of the filing cabinets. That is not a door. That is just that all he can see is a wall. Is not a door. That is a door, yes. It has to have like that little gap in it for it to be a door. Well, quote unquote door. It's just a gap in the wall. In this room, as you walk in, there is only a singular chair standing in the middle of the room. About half the lighting in the room is completely gone. It's like blown out. Only the lighting over the chair is there. There's nothing else to find in this room. Nope. I have no idea either, but it's so funny to watch. Is there anything that your character is choosing to do in this room, or are they continuing on to the next one? Everyone has different reactions to this room, and it's so funny. As your character sits in the chair, it holds up. It does not break. It just sits there and nothing happens. The buzzing in the facility in the area though has started to get almost what feels like it's louder, and it's starting to cause a mild headache. In this next room is just a vast open area of. Sorry, that was the loudest strike of lightning I've heard in a hot minute that just happened outside my apartment. It's just lightning, Bubba. This new. Anyways, this. Is it lightning? Was it big lightning? No, rain. Yeah. Anyways, in this room, there is nothing to be seen. As your character walks around, there is literally nothing in this room. It looks just like the first 3 rooms that they visited, where there was nothing in it. Well, first 2 rooms they visited, where there was just nothing in it. Well, I mean, you got 5 up there. I mean, this would be 6, yeah. Okay. You can make them 2 separate rooms, that's fine. Nothing happens as he continues to walk around the room, running his hand along the wall, does nothing except tell him that the wall has been wallpapered and it feels crusty. This next room has a few more pieces of furniture in it. There is a desk with there's a table with a chair, like an old desk with a chair. Seems to be a bit more structurally sound than the last desk you encountered, but the chair is falling apart. The leather has been torn up. There is no salvaging that chair. And along the other wall down here, there is just a line of filing cabinets that have no drawers. They're just completely empty, not even any drawers. Are you having fun doodling on the map? Oh, baby is just filing cabinets, empty filing cabinets with no drawers. This room is also completely empty. These next two rooms, there is nothing in either of them. There is nothing that they find again in that as they walk along the walls. In this room, there seems to be three separate junctions to it, but there is once again no furniture. Just an empty room and wet carpet. In this room, they once again find nothing other than a singular chair and a few filing cabinets. This chair is also knocked over, and the wheels that had probably once been on the bottom of the chair are also gone. They are office chairs. No, they are spinny office chairs with wheels. Is he touching the walls again this time? As he gets down to this wall down here, he feels that it's much thinner than the other walls, but there is no way to possibly get through it either. You're okay, Bubba. It just creates a hole in the wall that it doesn't go all the way through. Oh, Bubba. Go sit down and I'll bring you a cookie. I'll get you a cookie. As he sticks his hand into the hole, he finds nothing. Just empty space. And, like, rebar walls on either side of the small area that he opened up. Yeah, it's like drywall. Yeah, and all he finds is a concrete wall. Correct. Alright, in this room, all he finds is a few empty filing cabinets that, once again, don't have any drawers. 13. This next room is once again empty. There is nothing in it, and there is nothing to find in it. This room, there is another broken desk, but there is nothing in there is like nothing around the desk, and this one is broken even more like it than the last broken desk that had been found. So the last one had like it was only like split in half kind of. This one is like completely decimated. There's just pieces of this desk all piled in a corner. In this dead end room, you find a singular wall outlet that you could possibly charge a phone if need be. As he pulls out his phone to his little BlackBerry to charge it, he notices that he has absolutely no signal. His phone is in official SOS mode. He cannot receive calls or texts, and if he tries to like call 911, which you're supposed to be able to call even when you don't have signal, does not connect. And it has only been probably about 15 minutes of him wandering around so far. But as he's sitting there and charging his phone, that headache becomes worse and worse, and it starts to create this loud ringing in his ears, where to the point where he feels like he would not be able to hear anything sneaking up on him if something were to do that. Well, unfortunately, if he were to play his hit music, he would not be able to hear anything coming out of the device because of the ringing in his ears. Yes, dead end room. Alright, in this next room, it is once again empty, and half of the lighting in this room has gone out. It's tolerable. It's probably like 68, 69 degrees Fahrenheit in here. At least in this area. Alright, as he enters this next room, alright, as they walk into yet another room, this one is smaller than the others. In the center of the room is a large office table with desk chairs around. The table has a moderate stack of papers sitting atop the center. This is the first time that there has been any kind of anything different other than random office furniture. All right. The note on the paper on the very top looks to be a handwritten note, and it reads, "You are probably confused. I can't tell you much, but I can tell you that you aren't in the real world you know anymore. read more of these papers as much as you can possibly handle. Take some if you have to in order to read later. But I can tell you right now, you will need this knowledge, the knowledge written on these papers. Come find any place that is called a meg base, and you'll be able to learn more. Meg base, MEG, meg. Yeah. Yeah. Are you gonna continue? Are you gonna Okay, sorry, you continue. Go ahead. Okay, are you gonna read any of them, or are you just gonna take pictures? All right. The next page seems to be describing the current area that you are in, and that is the end of the that page. The next page that they find is seems to be describing some kind of phenomena. It talks about something called no clipping and describes how one would be able to do it. So it's a process of they close their eyes and they focus on the same feelings that they felt when they were first coming to the area, that weird sensation of your body not fitting and that bright flash of light. And it basically says that this is the way that you travel through the back rooms. At this point, your character's migraine is also starting to become intolerable, so they would likely start to try the no clipping thing. Nothing in particular, it's just more stacks of the same papers that had been describing level 0. The ones that you can see are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, 80, 37, and 974. All right, your character would just no clip in the room that they were in, or they can no clip in any other section that you want to, but their head is moving. They're probably not going to want to move very much. I don't know how well. There's nothing there. Okay. He does succeed in no clipping through the wall. However, he is going to be extremely disappointed as there is nothing in this room, and almost all the lights except for one light right about here is out. All right, your character succeeds in no clipping to wherever they end up next. I'm actually gonna have you roll a d20. We're gonna have you roll two d20s. I'm sorry. Do you know how to roll on the map? Yeah. Okay, so you go up to the top left. There's the home. There's the players, and then the next one over looks like a little dice. You click the dice, and it'll pop open like a nice little dice table. Dang, that Lightning is loud. I need to wrap this up quickly so that I can. All right, you got a 13. Yes, I do. Yeah, you're supposed to. You're supposed to. The total was 13. Okay. So, what was your character doing right before they took the step that landed them in the back rooms? Let's start with that.
He was taking the first step onto the clean sand of a beach in California. I don't know which one yet. I'll make that up sometime later.
Hey, that's okay. You don't have to know. Yes, Bubba, I hear you. You got party lights on? Yeah. Then go party over there. All right. So, let me grab my notebook real fast. All right. As you take your next step, the world suddenly feels like it isn't real, and like your own body doesn't quite fit. A bright light forces you to close your eyes. As suddenly as it all started, it stops. Though everything seems too quiet, aside from the buzz of electrical lighting, which was a far cry from the sounds of the beach your character had been on before. Now that the bright flash of light is gone, you can open your eyes. All around you, you can only see yellowed wallpaper with a kind of chevron pattern to it. Underfoot is squishy tan carpet. It's almost soggy. The air around you feels humid and smells musty. You are clearly somewhere new. The large room you are in has a single entrance and exit, where you can see a sort of hallway leading to 2 rooms beyond. Everything is illuminated by fluorescent flickering lights from above. What does your character do from here?
Oh, dude, it smells like my mom's house in here.
Oh.
He is gonna go try and find not soggy carpet.
Okay.
So he's going to, if I could move him.
I can move him.
Why won't it let me?
Why can't you move?
I'm on the move tool.
Interesting.
Hold on, resetting owlbear.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
So he'll just wander out through the door a bit.
Alright. So as he enters this next room, he finds that it is just as empty as the room he started in, only this one has more entrances and exits.
Oh, dude, it's like a maze. Oh, I'm just gonna hug this wall. And he's gonna go in here, walk all the way around the room. Just holding his hand to the wall and just...
Alright.
He'll get out eventually.
As he enters this next room, there is almost all of the lighting is out except one singular light in the center of the room. Under that light is a single office chair. It's one of those spinny kinds with wheels. And it's just sitting there. In the middle of the room.
He's gonna... When he gets to here, he's gonna pull out his flashlight and just kind of check the rest of the room.
As he looks around the rest of the room, he finds absolutely nothing.
Okay, he goes and sits in the chair.
The chair, it squeaks a little, but holds under him.
3 out of 10 chair gets up.
3 out of 10 chair gets up.
Yep, checks out this room.
Okay. As he enters this next room, he finds that there's just a little bit more furniture in this room. There is there's a desk in the corner of the room, but it looks broken, like somebody had split it down the middle, and any drawers that had been in it before are completely missing. There is also, in the opposite corner of the room, there is a chair knocked over on the side and is missing an arm that looked like it should have been there.
Dude, wood for a fire. He's gonna go grab some of like the damaged desk.
Okay.
And just to have.
Okay.
No idea yet.
As he picks up this wood, nothing particularly special happens, but he does find that he's starting to get a little bit of a headache from the buzzing noise around him.
Dude, I can't stand these fluorescent lights anymore. I'm going crazy, man. And he can't really do anything about it, so he's just gonna keep walking or following this wall.
Alright, as he enters this next room, he finds that it is completely empty again. There is only a singular electrical outlet on one side of the wall. On one side of the room.
Okay, he just continues holding his hands to the wall because that's what he said he was gonna do. And next.
As he enters this next room, his headache starts to become worse. His head starts pounding.
You know, maybe I try a different way, and he's gonna backtrack this way a bit.
He finds absolutely nothing. There is
nothing he's already seen.
Everything is exactly the same as he saw it before. It just seems like the rooms might have somewhat tilted from the floor, so it feels like he might be swaying back and forth as he's walking.
What about the headache? Any worse? Any better?
It's continuing to get worse.
Nope, backwards not the option. Gotta go forward, man.
Alright. As he comes into this room, he finds that there is a red arrow on this wall pointing in the direction that he seems to need to be going.
Yeah. Oh, that was the way I was going anyways. Thanks, arrow, bro.
As he
Told you I'm
doing
this.
I'm living for it, man. As he enters the next room, he finds that it is completely empty, and he can also see down the long hallway from there. He still sees absolutely nothing in either room.
I'm assuming that this is walled off.
Yes, that is
Can't
a wall.
get through. Okay.
At least with your current abilities, no, he cannot get through.
Walks around the wall.
His headache is starting to become a throbbing migraine. He is suffering right now.
Maybe it's lack of protein, or he's gonna start eating a protein bar.
His migraine does not ease up. It continues to grow worse as he walks along. In this next room, there is another red arrow pointing this way.
Any furniture or anything?
Nope. Another empty room.
Okay, he's just gonna continue.
This room also has an arrow right here pointing the way. His migraine is now growing so bad that he can't hear properly.
Arrow bros, help me!
This next room has a single filing cabinet in one corner, and then a stack of chairs against where's my pointer? There's just a stack of chairs against this wall that are just kind of thrown together in a pile right here. And then there's
Okay.
a filing cabinet right here. It seems very rusted.
Maybe there's some meds in here, and he's gonna go look through the filing cabinet, trying.
2 of the 4 drawers of the filing cabinet he cannot get open. They are just rusted to shut. But the other 2 he opens, and there is nothing in them.
Oh. All right, he's gonna keep going straight down. So that's what the last arrow told him, and his rule of hugging this wall.
As he continues to walk into this room, he starts to get like spots in his vision from how bad the migraine is getting.
Oh no. There's nothing else he can do except keep going.
In this room, there is a giant like X on this wall right here. And around it, it says, "You finally found it."
He goes and touches it. X marks the spot, bro.
Nothing happens.
Oh, maybe around.
As he goes around, he enters one of the smallest rooms he has been in so far. As he walks into yet another room, this one's smaller than the others. Wow, okay, apparently I can't read. You walk into yet another room. This one's smaller than the others. In the center of the room is a large office table with desk chairs around. The table has a moderate stack of papers sitting atop the center. The very top paper looks to be handwritten from a distance.
He will read the paper.
The handwritten note says, "You are probably confused. I can't tell you much, but I can tell you that you aren't in the real world you know anymore. Read some more of these papers. At least read the one about no clipping. That will be your biggest tool to get out of this place. When you successfully leave, come find me at Meg Base." And that's where the note ends. The very next, is he going to continue to flip through the pages?
How bad is his migraine?
It started. He can see, but only kind of barely. Give us a mama. Thank you, baby. I can tell you he needs to at least read the next page. No, you cannot have. That's mine. That's mine. No soda for baby.
I'm half tempted to just have him shove all of the papers into his bag. And just try and keep finding an exit, though. But yeah, he'll read the next one if he feels like he could.
The next one is the last page that he's able to read. All it is about is no clipping, and it describes and teaches people how to no clip. This process of closing your eyes, focusing on the same sensation you felt when you arrived, that your body doesn't quite fit right, the bright light that was blinding you, and all of the other sensations they might have felt.
Alright, he's going to shove a bunch of the other papers into his bag.
Okay.
And then attempt to no clip.
Alright, he successfully no clips and leaves the level. Now, so there's dice that are added to this owlbear map. I want you to roll 2 d20s, please.
2d20. I did add wood and papers from first level to my equipment.
Yes. Alright.
A 4 and a 16.
I needed the total for both of them. So, before we really get into, like, all of this, let's start with what was your character in the middle of doing right before they took their next step and end up in the back rooms?
They had just received a domestic violence report and were on their way to go check it out when, like, we're getting into the car when they know.
Okay. Just writing it down a note real fast. Alright. As Borg takes their next step, the world around them suddenly feels like it isn't real and like their programming is on the fritz. If their vision gets distorted, their hearing gets distorted, and all of a sudden they can't see. As suddenly as it all started, it stops. Though everything seems too quiet, aside from the buzz of the electrical lighting, which was a far cry from the sounds that had been around them before. Now that the interference is gone, they can see around them again. All around them, they can only see yellowed wallpaper with a kind of chevron pattern to it. Underfoot is squishy tan carpet. It's almost soggy. The air around you feels humid and smells musty. They are clearly somewhere new. The large room they are in has a single gap in the wall where they can see a hallway beyond. Everything is illuminated by fluorescent, flickering lights. What does your character do from here?
He would attempt to get in contact with the main police station using whatever radio equipment he had.
The attempt to contact anybody else fails. All they get is a weird distortion anytime they try.
Well, shit. Uh, Seeing no other alternative, he would press on into the hall, or the opening he saw.
Okay? This next room is just as empty as the first room they were in.
Does he notice anything on the walls?
Nope. It is just the same yellowed chevron wallpaper.
Hmm. Uh, Deciding to take an air of caution to everything, he'd draw his pistol, but like keep his finger up the trigger and the barrel aimed up as he proceeded.
Alright.
I assume still nothing of note.
Give me 1 second. This next room has a singular filing cabinet right about here. All of the drawers from it are missing, and it looks incredibly rusted.
So I'm not the first one here. That's something to keep note of. Uh, does he see any other openings anywhere?
Yeah, right here.
Then he proceeds that way.
This next room, most of the light is out, except for one light right about here. And under that light is a singular office chair. There's nothing else.
I can't make that joke here.
Yeah.
Uh, Being cautious, he'd flick on his flashlight and scan the room.
He finds nothing. There is nothing else to note. Just that chair and the light above it like it's an interrogation.
He press on down this way.
This room has a few more pieces of furniture. Right over here in this corner, there is a broken desk. Like somebody had literally split the desk down the middle, and it was tilted into itself on the floor. Behind it is a looks like it would have been another office chair, but it is also broken. It is missing the back of it. Over along this wall is a line of filing cabinets. Some of them are missing all the drawers, some of them are missing only one or two, but they're all incredibly rusted.
I go over to the filing cabinets and see if I can't get any of the ones that still have drawers open.
Your character is successful in opening a few of the drawers, but not all of them. In those drawers that they are able to open, there is nothing to find.
He'd go over to investigate the desk to see if there were anything in the desk drawer, if the desk had drawers. If not, then he just presses them.
The desk does have drawers. However, when they are open, it is noticed that the bottoms of the drawers have been missing for who knows how long, and there is once again nothing in them.
Then he presses on.
Alright, this next room has nothing in it except a singular electrical outlet right here.
He'd go up to see if it still has any power running through it.
It does have power running through it, enough power that it could charge a device.
Being cautious, he'd charge a spare power cell on it.
Unfortunately, it seems that the technology in this building is too old for the power cell to be charged.
Then he just presses on.
Alright. Which direction does he go? Okay. That is the wrong tool. I need this tool. Alright. This next room has 3 entrances and exits. They can see down this way as well from that spot. There is, once again, nothing in the room they're standing in, but right along this wall is a random pile of broken wooden chairs.
He'd press on up this way.
Alright. This next room has another broken desk right about here. This one is damaged beyond repair, and it looks like it's literally like in pieces on the ground.
Seeing no reason to investigate something that broken, he presses on further.
Alright, in this next room, he finds that there is yet another electrical outlet right here and right here, along with a singular chair in the corner with the back of it turned to it like somebody had been in timeout or something in that chair.
Do either of the outlets look like they could support his current level of technology?
They don't look like any electrical outlet he would have been familiar with. They look like something from nearly 5 centuries prior.
That could be an issue. He'd press on upwards.
Alright, this next room is completely empty. There's nothing in there.
Then he'd just keep pressing on.
This next dead end room doesn't have anything in it other than a singular electrical outlet right here.
Oh, this was a waste of time. He'd go back down and go down this way.
Alright. This next room is also completely empty, but it has two new ways to go.
He'd decide to take this entrance.
Alright. This next room has a desk right here, and behind it is another electrical outlet. But there is nothing in the desk.
Dare? Huh?
But there is nothing in the desk once again. That's mine. No, but you can have these.
Well, it's not damaged, so at least we're making progress. He'd press on further downwards.
This next room is also empty.
You said it's also empty?
Yes.
Then he'd just keep going down.
This dead end room is literally lined with electrical outlets. Like, all along this wall, there's electrical outlets, like, right back to each other. And all along this way, and all along that way, and all along that way. There's just so many electrical outlets, and none of them are the right ones that your character needs.
This just feels like it's taunting me. He'd go up and try the other way.
Right? This room has two chairs, one right here and one right here. They are facing each other. They look kind of sturdy, or at least untouched, as if they were almost new.
Is there any special thing about them that he can see just from looking at them?
Nope, they are just office chairs from centuries ago.
Teeth. He'd press on down this way.
Alright, this next room is completely empty, but it looks like there had been a whole other section of the building right here, and it ended up getting cut off because of another wall behind it.
That's interesting. He'd poke his head up here to investigate, unless this. Oh,
Alright. They walk into yet another room. This one's smaller than the others. In the center of the room is a large office table with desk chairs around. The table has a moderate stack of papers sitting atop the center. The very top paper looks handwritten.
he'd pick up the top paper and read it.
The note on it has a header that it had been typed out, and it is M.E.G. on it for the header. The note itself reads, "You are probably confused. I can't tell you much, but I can tell you that you are not in the real world you know anymore. Read at least the next paper. That will get you out of this area. Come find Meg Base. You'll be able to find some answers there."
He'd read the next paper.
The next paper describes a phenomena that is called on the paper no clipping. It teaches a person how to close their eyes and focus on the sensations that they had experienced upon arriving at the Backrooms. From this paper, your character is able to learn how to no clip.
He would practice it by manually distorting his vision and hearing, and just thinking about what led him to this maze.
Alright. Are they not gonna grab any of the papers from the stack, or are they just gonna focus on getting the fuck out?
Do any of them look important?
The next page that is under the no clipping page has that same header from the first one, and in the top right corner it says class 1, and then it is all typed out. It looks like an official report.
That looks important. He'd grab it and any other that looks important
Okay.
before attempting the no clip.
Okay, Rowan, you can go wash your hands, honey. Okay. Your character successfully no clips to the next area. So I'm gonna have you go. You see the 3 little buttons at the top of the screen? It says home, players, and then the next one looks like a little dice.
Yeah.
Click on that one. I need you to roll 2d20. Alright, that's a 9. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. Alright. Okay. So, what is your character doing right before they take that step and they end up in the back rooms?
I would want to say she was going into the back of her parents' cafe to check on inventory.
Okay. So, as your character takes their next step, the world would suddenly feel like it isn't real and like your own body doesn't quite fit. A bright light forces them to close their eyes. As suddenly as it all started, it stops. Though everything seems too quiet, aside from the buzz of electrical lighting, which was a far cry from the sounds from the inside of the cafe, your character's parents' cafe. Now that the bright flash of light is gone, they can open their eyes. All around them, they can only see yellowed wallpaper with a kind of chevron pattern to it. Underfoot is squishy tan carpet. It's almost soggy. The air around them feels humid and smells musty. They are clearly somewhere new. The large room they are in has a single gap in the wall where they can see the hallway beyond. Everything is illuminated by fluorescent, flickering lights. So, now what does your character do from here?
She's going to. She's in a place unfamiliar. She's going to. She's under her kind of breath at a like quietness. She's gonna be like, "This is not my parents' storage cooler."
So, are they just standing there wondering what the fuck is going on for an extended period of time? Do they start
like
looking around?
a smidge, like a smidge of time.
Okay. So as they're standing there wondering, where am I? That buzzing sound starts to become a bit annoying and like almost itchy in the brain,
Mm.
but nothing seems to be happening. There is no voices, no animal sounds, just the sound of the electrical buzzing.
She's gonna possibly press on because like if no one's in this room, maybe someone they're in some other room eventually. Because she doesn't know, like, she has not seen, she doesn't know what the outside of this building looks like, so she doesn't know how big this building is.
Okay. Go ahead and drag your character to where they're going to start exploring then.
Yeah. She would, she would kind of go that way. I did the ruler gesture, the ruler.
Okay, you want to like move your character. Yeah, you're gonna be like moving your character along, and as you move your character, I'm gonna.
I would kind of stop here, kind of just to. She would very slowly walk.
Okay, so then they would be able to see probably about like right there. They can't. They still can't hear anything. There is nothing new other than just these strangely laid walls that seem to be like inside of each other at points.
At this point, she will gradually move a little bit. She'll peek behind, like to the left, to the right, out a little bit. So, like, not quite. So before going over here, she's gonna like possibly like peek around.
Okay. They still.
So I'm gonna move. Yeah, I'm gonna move right there.
Yeah, they still see nothing, and it's that now that they're there, they see more of an empty room. Same walls,
Okay.
same flooring, same buzzing overhead lights.
Okay. She's gonna press on it, and she's gonna go into the center.
Alright. So let's see. They can probably see about there. This next room seems to have something in it, some kind of furniture, but it is off over here, so they can only like vaguely see a large shape with a shadow.
Hi, I'm gonna move it here. Just say that she's up against this wall.
Alright. She sees that there is an office desk, like one that her teachers would have at her school, sitting
Okay.
in the sitting over there, right, sitting right here with a chair. But there's nothing on the desk. It looks old, like it might be like it's about ready to fall apart.
Okay. Then she's gonna like kind of cross away from the desk,
Okay.
but still eyeball kind of like walk through the room, but not really, but kind of pay attention to like the desk from different angles and make note of it from different angles.
Okay. There's nothing new to see other than it still looks old and broken. It doesn't have any signs of anybody having been there in the past maybe decade.
Okay. Then gonna
This next room has a singular light that is on and it is only in the center of the room. Right, it casts a light probably about that big or so, and right in the center of that light is a singular office chair.
okay. I think at this point she would be like the very like, am I in what? Am I in like? How did I get in an abandoned office of some kind? Like she's still like thinking of like, was this an office and no one remembered to grab everything?
As your character continues around this area, they suddenly develop a pounding headache. Not quite yet a migraine, but it's starting to get kind of annoying.
Okay. So she would kind of pick a little bit of the pace up.
This next room has a lot more furniture in it, but not in the way you'd expect. Right about starting here all the way down to here, there's just a gigantic pile of office chairs that are just like look like they had just been thrown in a pile very quickly.
Hmm. She'll just pass it.
All right. This next room is completely empty. All of the lights are on in that room, but there is nothing in there.
Okay.
No furniture, no people, nothing.
Okay. Also, I'm being very, very like attuned to like she was a high schooler in the 90s. She's not going to know the word liminal space to be used as a description of what's around her, because no one would actually use the term liminal space, especially a high schooler.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, can you imagine high schooler from the 90s going, how liminal?
No, they would be so high.
People would be like, you need to be institutionalized.
Yeah, it's the whole thing of cough, 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 cough. You possibly remember growing up in the 90s like me. Yeah. Yeah, 1, 2. Yeah.
Alright, so you can just continue to move your character wherever you feel and like describe what they're doing and stuff like that. Because there's no other players in the session 0. I'm not doing like a turn-based thing unless someone pops up. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, yeah. No,
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 you
it's
just
the
keep
fact
going.
that, yeah. Okay. And then,
This is yet again another empty room.
she's gonna
Rooms.
possibly peek at it to analyze if there's any turns or twists.
There doesn't seem to be anything, but this section of the room doesn't have any lighting in it at all. All you can see is
Okay.
like what faint glow lights up the walls from this room.
She would kind of back away, because here's the thing: if you grew up in the 90s, even if it was just your grandmother's basement that had just a light bulb left on, you weren't the one that took care of that. You just let grandma know. because I had a hi, to share a story. My mother used to live in the basement of my great grandma's house with her mother. Um, she lived in the basement, but here's the thing: I've had an encounter that influences a memory in my head on that, and versus kind of basically what if I was raised as a coffee shop owner's kid. Darcy would actually possibly like be here, back away, fall on her butt for a split second, and then kind of like roll herself back up and go the other way because something tells her no.
Reasonable decision.
Because a story thing is I'm swore for like a split second I saw my that for the longest time I was convinced at a certain point that my great grandfather was still with her in that house. when my grandmother was still my great grandmother was still living there. He just it was a what are you doing? Doing you're not supposed to be nosy kid.
Yeah.
It's that whole like the back of the head says no and you don't know why.
Yeah.
So she's gonna go down this hallway instead.
Alright. We'll open up these two rooms to be seen. Alright, so in this room down here, just like the other room, there's a pile of furniture right here in this area down here. But instead of chairs this time, it's just like stacks of broken office desks. The wood is like completely split in half on some. Some of them are like in pieces where there's like the side piece and the top piece. It's like just a massive pile of desks that goes from the floor to the ceiling.
Also, an out of character thing. I'm assuming everyone's session 0 is just how they passed through floor 1.
Yes.
Okay. Also, I really need to watch the escape the back room stuff.
Huh?
Because I can clearly tell because I caught a snippet of one episode of y'all doing it that you seem to be having fun with it.
Oh, yes, very much so. This is my hyperfixation and my obsession.
Okay.
When Dell was like, we should do Backrooms ttrpg, I was like, excuse me, that exists as a thing?
Yeah.
Hell yes, I don't care. I will run that shit so fucking fast.
Okay, so she would basically path like this. She would basically be here, path up, center, look around, and then go back down. As she would guide it like that, and there we go.
All right. So that last room they were in, so this room right here, there was nothing to see. It was literally just that one pile of desks that was just in the corner. Still, nothing seems to be happening. There's no sounds of people. There's no sounds of animals. Your headache is seeming to remain the same. It has not gotten any worse yet, but also hasn't gotten any better.
I want to say after a while, she's starting to be like, who lays out this office building like this? She would start being like, layouts not making sense. There's like, this would contradict this turn.
Mm-hmm.
Her like she is a smart cookie, but like, oh my fuck, she's
So
like even
naive.
typically naive or the normal world as far as she knows, the world as she knows it doesn't need that much attention, but now this is like, wait, things aren't adding up, and they're getting to a point where like this is not. She at this point, I'm pretty sure she's starting to be like, am I dreaming just very lucidly?
Alright, this next room is once again an empty room. There seems to be a singular electrical socket along this wall over here, like right around here. There's a little electrical socket that things could be plugged in. But still, no sounds, just empty room, and nothing seemingly going on.
Okay.
Alright, this next room has a couple of chairs and a filing cabinet along this wall over here, but there doesn't seem to be anything else in it either.
Okay. Side note. I'm assuming the grouped up ones had more like bounce off.
Grouped up ones, what do you mean?
Because am I like the one of the first batches that it's just me?
No, everybody, it is just you. It is just
Okay.
the one person for everybody session 0. So
Okay. I'm assuming that like you would take on everyone every so often would do it. Because I remember when you had Real, you had someone else also.
if there was somebody in the lobby when I did a session 0, they were asked to leave so we could do the session.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were okay.
It was
One, you were
just
only there for one of them. The
It is-
other one just Slay was there.
yes, it is just a one-on-one session between me and the player.
Okay. And wow.
Alright, so they can see down there. They should be able to see down here as well. So this just seems to be a hallway with a tiny gap that they might be able to squeeze through to get through here. And then this room, it seems like it was a meeting room at some point. There is a round office meeting table in the center with just a bunch of like office chairs around it. There's no papers on it though, and the surface of the table is somewhat like wet. Like it looked like there's water has just kind of formed on the surface of the table.
Okay. Do I see if there is any like proper place where like it possibly was leaking at from?
No, there's been no
Okay.
signs of leaks. It just seems like everything is some kind of wet in this area.
Okay.
Wrong tool. Here we go. Be able to see down there. Okay. So, as they're continuing to walk along, there still seems to be nobody and nothing in this building. It is just empty. There's no sounds of people anywhere. And that the buzzing is starting to get very annoying, and your headache is starting to progress into a migraine.
Okay.
Alright. So, once again, you are finding yourself in a series of just empty rooms. The next room beyond looks empty, as well as what you can see of the very final room down here.
Okay.
Alright, you are in once again another empty room. It just seems like
Okay.
it just seems like a series of empty rooms from the office, from that meeting room on.
Okay. She's gonna backtrack again. She possibly saw over here. Turned again. So she's gonna like look at down this.
So they can see what looks to be the start of another hallway right here, and they can't really see anything in this area. It seems empty as far as they can see from here.
Okay, so she's gonna.
Can I assist you? Can I assist you? Is there a reason that you're over here? Hey, why don't you go put your socks and shoes on, okay? Yeah, go put your sock and shoe on. No, baby, I'll help you in a little bit, okay? Alright, and then to open up this room. This is, once again, yet another empty room. There's nobody, nothing, no furniture, there's no electrical outlets, and the lights are only half on in this room. So you can see there's just like, there's a light on here, this light here is off, this light here is on, this light here is off, this light here is on, and then the last light over here is on as well.
Yeah.
Mama. The hallway also seems empty, but there's like just like a random line of electrical outlets back to back along this wall.
Okay. Does it look like on this side, on like here, it turns or not?
It looks like there's more to the room on that side. Yes. Yes, bub. I'll get you more in just a second.
So she's gonna approach over there.
Get off my arm, please.
Okay. Yay!
Alright, so in this room, there's once again nothing in it. But you can see, like, it looks like there had been two buildings placed inside of each other right here. Like, it looked like it might have been possibly outside walls on this side, but there's a gap on either side of this wall.
Okay. She will back this way. Back into this room. And kind of glance more closer at that smidge of like a squeeze.
Give me 1 second. He had an accident.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
Alright, so they see nothing down that hallway. It looks like it might be yet again another empty room.
Okay. She would she would possibly kind of like lay down and kind of like peek around through her, at least her head.
What they assumed to be an empty room was proven to be true. There seems to be nothing in this room except continuing to another room.
Okay. She's gonna. She would kind of shuffle at, kind of like flatten herself against the wall. shimmying herself along the wall toward the squeeze.
All right.
A thing that most 90s kids would do instead of moving something away from them.
All right. They can see yet another room beyond it. This one seems to be filled with filing cabinets. All along each wall that they could see, there's just a whole line of filing cabinets. They all looked old and rusty, and some of them seemed to be missing drawers.
And I'm assuming she notices that that's either a dead end by filing cabinets.
It's no, this whole room. You can see the walls in the room, but the whole room is just lined with filing cabinets all the way up till this part right here. So each of these walls, just all filing cabinets, old, rusty, and like missing drawers and falling apart.
Yeah. She's gonna squeeze back through.
Okay.
And here's the thing. Because she had she would have counted every single like iteration of oath. She would have kind of tried her best to map in the head, even if it didn't make sense for the organization of an office.
Okay.
And with the last bit of it, she will actually backtrack to the no-no room that she really doesn't want to go back into.
All right. It is unchanged from the last time they had seen it. It is still empty, and that secondary room still has all the lights off in it.
And then she's gonna. Hi, by the way, I'm toying with myself too.
Okay. You have fun with
A little bit.
You have fun. This is supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. And here's the thing. The out of characterness is either she has to go into the dark, or I know that she forgot a hallway because of mapping, but she doesn't know. So she's balancing that troubleshoot of like, you said this corner right, like here, and this way was not lit.
Yeah, so you can only see kind of like the faint glow off of the walls in there. It looks like another empty room from the lack of shadows that are being produced in it.
She would get about here, and she would still have her backpack on, possibly. And she's like, and we said she has a flashlight, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Give me a second. Let me double check that. No, she doesn't. She would look through her backpack and notice she does not have one.
Oh.
So she's going to be like, I can't see this, therefore.
Well, from the distance that she was already at, there's just enough light for her to see that it is a truly empty room, a truly dead end empty room. There is nothing in there.
Okay, it would just be not good lighting. Okay.
Yeah, it's just poor lighting in that room that you can
So
only kind of see.
So she kind of would go back to the start to problem solve.
Okay.
And then she would go here and realize, wait, I came from the right. There's a left.
All right.
and would go down.
They find, yet again, a singular chair in a room. However, this time it is on its side, on the side of the room, but there is, once again, nothing else to this room.
Okay.
With this area right here, if she was standing like right here, she would have been able to see that there was a room beyond here. They can't see really into the room, but they can tell that there is a room back here.
Okay, so she would go. Hi. For the sake of not cycling slowly through excruciating painful, I'm just gonna be like she eventually went back over there.
Okay. Does she go up into that area that looks
Yeah,
like there are
yeah.
walls in it?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yes.
Oh, that's the wrong tool. I need this one. Alright. They walk into yet another room. This one is smaller than the others. In the center of the room is a large office table with desk chairs around. The table has a moderate stack of papers sitting atop the center. The very top paper looks to be a handwritten note. This is the first paper your character finds in the entire area.
Okay. She will approach the desk.
All right. The very top paper seems to be like official like papers that had been printed by like a company, right? There is a like the handwritten stuff that you can see is like clearly written with pen, bright and bold, but behind that in the top left corner there is a small abbreviation of M.E.G. And then in the right hand corner there looks to be like some kind of like shield shape, but there is nothing inside that shield. It's just an empty shield. It is just a handwritten note on the top of a stack of papers.
Okay. She is going to pick it up, very softly fold it, and make note of what it said, and then put it in her backpack.
All right. Would you like me to read you the note that she
Yes.
saw? Okay.
Yes.
You are probably confused. I can't tell you much, but I can tell you that you aren't in the real world you know anymore. Read a few more of these sheets, especially this next page, the next page that is titled No Clipping. That is essential information for you to know. Once you figure out the art of no clipping from that sheet, continue on and try and find what we call a meg face. It is an unsigned note as well.
Okay. She would go through all the. She would read all of them.
She's going to read everything in that stack?
Yes, she would.
Okay. So,
After a while, she would just start reading them as she would.
All right. So the next page that she reads describes the art of no clipping. Basically tells her to close her eyes and focus on the same feelings and sensations that she felt when she first arrived in the area, and that it'll help her get out of this area. The page after the small stack of papers that are preceding it are all labeled with that same MEG faintly in the top left and then that crest, but each of those pages from then on have writing in that crest. So, for example, the first page that she sees is titled Level 1. And then when it goes over, it says like class. Hold on, let me pull up the exact numberage for it. It says Threat Index Class 1. Safe, stable, minimal entity count. And then it goes to describe the next area that it seems she might be ending up in. It describes a warehouse with fluorescent lights hanging from the ceiling, occasional machinery such as forklifts, and hallways and stairwells that peel off and lead to separate areas of the levels. And every page from then on all seems to be like official documentation describing an area that your character can get to so long as they follow the note about no clipping. And I will be sending you the links to the pages that they did read. It is just a lot of information for me to read out loud, so it's more for like your leisure of reading.
She would actually take the entire stack after a while,
She would just
and she would just put it in the entire stack in her backpack.
Hey, they are there for that intent and purpose, it seems to be. So the specific numbers that your character has picked up is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15, 16, 61, and then the last one is titled Fun. But once again, I will be sending you those links so that you can like see what they are.
Yeah. Hi. If it's just the site that explains the levels.
Yes, it is the Backrooms.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm going to cry when we get to a certain level, and it's gonna suck because I hate that level.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell you which level you're gonna end up in because at the very end, after we describe like your character no clipping to the next section, I'm gonna have you roll to see what level you guys end up in.
All right, I keep on forgetting they can be not in order.
Yep. All right, so your character shoves the stack of papers in their bag. Do they try and no clip from this section into the next section, or are they like deciding to like go explore some more? At this point, that migraine is starting to become like inhibiting.
She's part of me. Part of her choice is gonna be like she would go back into this room.
Okay.
Be in the center of this room and follow the instructions.
All right. Congratulations, your character has successfully made it to whatever level they end up in next. If you see at the top, it has at the top left on the on your screen. It says like home players, and then there's like a little dice symbol that says dice. I need you to roll 2d20s.
2D what?
20.
A 3 and a 9.
All right. I need the total, which is 12.
That's a 12. Yes.
Yep. All right. So, our darling sweet Grandpa Leonard, what was he doing right before he like took his next step and ended up in the back rooms?
I believe we said that he was feeding ducks.
Feeding ducks in the park. All right. Grandpa Leonard just finished up feeding ducks in the park. As he takes that next step, the world suddenly feels like it isn't real, and like his own body doesn't quite fit. A bright light forces him to close his eyes. As suddenly as it all started, it stops. Though everything seems too quiet, aside from the buzz of electrical lighting, which is a far cry from the sounds of ducks quacking and water chopping in the distance that he had been surrounded by before. Now that the bright flash of light has vanished, he can open his eyes. All around him, he can only see yellowed wallpaper with a kind of chevron pattern to it. Underfoot is squishy tan carpet. It's almost soggy. The air around you feels humid and smells musty. He is clearly somewhere new. The large room he is in has a single hole in the wall where he can see a hallway beyond it. Everything is illuminated by fluorescent, flickering lights.
Delightful.
What does your character do from here? Old man Leonard.
Oh, shit. Son of a.
I'm surprised
Just
he didn't
trying
get
to
a
feed
heart
some
attack from
stuff.
transporting to the back rooms.
He's a hardy old man, mostly.
Mostly. All right. Do you see the area that is unfogged, the only singular spot in this whole map that's unfogged?
Hang on, I gotta switch between my character sheet and Owlbear.
You're good. You're not. I'll tell you if you need your character sheet. You're not gonna need it basically at all this whole time. So
Okay. Um, I see no difference from before. I don't know if I'm supposed to.
do you see a small yellow square in the middle of the screen?
I see a yellow rectangle cut
Yep.
into by another yellow rectangle.
Yep, that's where you're supposed to be. Okay, I was just making sure that you could see it.
Okay.
Alright.
Alright.
And the little bag token that is your character for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so what does your character do from here after he's had his cursing meltdown?
Start walking, I guess. He's probably still cursing, but
Cursing and
he's gonna
walking.
start walking.
What a
Yep, he can
man.
multitask. He's good at that.
He can multitask. He's good at that. I'm living for it. Alright. So as he enters this next room, he finds that it is completely empty. And there is not even a sound of any other person in the area. Alright. Which way does he continue? On the left or on the right?
The right.
Okay.
Oh my god, more yellow rectangles.
More yellow rectangles. Alright, as he enters this next room, there is a singular red arrow drawn on the wall over. Oh, that is yellow. I need red. Give me my red. Yellow on yellow is not going to be great. There is a singular red arrow on this wall pointing this way, and then there's another one pointing this way.
Oh hell, this is one of the YouTube pranks.
The only directions he can go are back or in the directions the arrows are pointing.
Let's follow the arrows.
Alright.
That's totally 100% safe.
Follows the arrows down into a large rectangular room that looks like there has been another building clipped straight
Mm-hmm.
into it. As he walks into this room, there is a singular light fixture in the center of the room. The rest of the room is dark. And right under that, the little red mark I made for the light, there is a singular chair. And nothing else in the room.
Is it occupied by a Jake?
No, not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Sitting in it feels like a bad idea.
The chair does look like a rusty old swiveling office chair.
Does it come with a sign that says "Sit here for tetanus"?
No, it does not.
I'm glad that I'm making you laugh.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. You're pretty funny.
Thank you.
What was your
Let's go
character?
poke the chair.
Poke the chair. All right.
Yeah.
It breaks apart nearly instantly. With the gentlest little nudge, the whole thing collapses over on itself and falls apart into pieces.
Well, you know, they don't make things like they used to.
Okay, Grandpa. Oh, I'm sorry. I said it wrong. Okay, Boomer.
There you go.
All right. Only directions to go are back the way you came or into that section that looks like there was another building or room clipped into it.
Let's go back the way we came.
Back the way you came?
Mhm.
Alright. Nothing has changed. There's still the 2 red arrows pointing back the other way and the spot to retreat to.
Why am I seeing things that I don't want to see? Is over here a thing? They need to take lasers away from me.
I cannot see where you're pointing at, so I'm gonna assume no.
Okay.
Are you talking about like
And
the weird like rectangle clipped into another rectangle?
yes, most likely yes.
This spot
Yeah,
right
there.
here. Okay, so that is something. However, as your character currently stands, there is no way to access anything that might be beyond it or might not be beyond it.
All right. Let's go back the way we came.
So towards the arrows or back towards where you started?
Back towards where I started.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, sorry about that.
We're all good.
Okay. This
I
room
know you have a kid. It's
also
okay.
this room also hasn't changed.
Okay.
There is the way back towards where you started. There is the other way you haven't explored, and there's the other way back towards the error room.
Let's go the way I haven't gone yet.
Okay. There is absolutely nothing in this room that he walked into. It is just another bare room with wet carpet.
Ew.
Oh yeah, the carpet in this whole area is soggy. Every single step he takes is squish, 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 squish.
I think I'd rather die.
Hey, at least it's better than playing the pool rooms on Backrooms Escape Together with Dell, and every time you play with him, he has to mention imagine only wearing socks in that area.
I think you're legally allowed to shoot him for that. I'm not sure though. I haven't been to law school, but I think that's legally a justification.
I agree with that statement. Rowan, can I
Exactly.
assist
I'll
you?
prove it.
Go on, Bubba. Go on, Bubba. No, do not turn Mama. Mama busy. I'll help you in just a minute, okay? Okay. So, where does your character go from here? Go.
Everything okay?
Yeah, he's just mad because I won't let him sit on my lap while I'm doing something.
Hmm.
Something being this.
Yeah.
What happened? Why are you taking your shirt off?
Oh.
Child. Hello? Let me see. Oh, give it kisses. Give your little red mark kisses. There you go. All better. Okay. Anyways.
These are so
There's only one way to go, which is back the way you came. Are you gonna go back the way you came, or are you gonna sit here and wallow in a room, in a corner of a room?
I guess we're going back the way we came.
All right. This room suddenly has changed, and all of a sudden there is a singular, what's it called? A filing cabinet in the corner over here, but there are no drawers in it, and it looks very rusty. Where are your pants? Okay. You know what? At least you got your underwear on. It's fine. Anyways.
If you need to deal with him, don't worry about it. I can wait.
Nah, he's fine. I've just looked over and all of a sudden he didn't have pants again. So, that's the thing that happened.
Yeah. Pretty sure my brother was a pants hater when he was a baby.
It's hit or miss
Okay.
with Roro. He either wants to always wear clothes or he wants to never wear clothes.
Honestly, he's real for that.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. So, do you want to go back towards the start or back towards the room with the arrows?
Let's go back towards the room with the arrows.
Alright. Nothing in this room seems to have changed. The arrows are still there.
Kind of sad there's nothing in the filing cabinet. I'm nosy. I want to know what kind of paperwork the Backrooms has. Do they have
There's
permits? They surely don't have permits.
there is there is absolutely nothing in this room. God damn it.
Let's keep following the arrows then.
Okay. Let me find the right tool. There we go. Alright. As you are back in this room has also changed and is now fully lit, but there's nothing in it.
I'm gonna kick where the chair used to be just because, man, fuck this room.
Nothing happened.
Rats.
Alright, you're gonna go back the way you came, or are you gonna continue on?
Let's continue on.
Alright. As Leonard enters this next room, he finds himself in a room with a bunch of furniture. And by a bunch, I mean there is just a pile of old office chairs in this corner over here, piled up almost all the way to the ceiling. And then there's a singular, like, office desk, wooden office desk right here. It looks very unsafe and unstable, like it's gonna fall apart at any moment.
I'm gonna kick it.
The desk?
Yeah.
Okay. Kick the desk falls apart into pieces, and you can tell that it's been molded and mildewed to hell and back.
Delightful. I'll remember that when I need to make soup.
Alright. What is your character doing now?
How much shit can I break?
That kind of depends on what you're trying to break.
I'm gonna kick every piece of furniture I can reach.
Okay. You go over, Leonard goes over to the pile of chairs and starts kicking the chairs. All he ends up doing is hurting himself.
Damn.
Because that pile of chairs comes crashing down on him. Luckily,
Alright.
nothing is broken. Oh, on Leonard. But he is unharmed, just under a pile of chairs now.
Choices were made, they just weren't good ones.
Alright, what are you doing from here?
Is there somewhere I can keep walking to?
Yep, this corner over here. You can kind of see a room beyond it. Let's see if we can
Alright,
go
let's go that way.
Alright. He enters this next room to find yet again another empty room.
These people just kept building and building, no plans, huh?
Alright. There is the option to go down a hallway to his right, or or it looks like another room beyond to the left.
Let's go through the hallway.
Alright. The hallway jumps him out into two consecutive rooms.
Mhm.
It seems like the first room that he's in, he can go into, which is over here, doesn't have anything in it except another hallway. This room down here
Mhm.
has a singular light in the center of the room, and under that light is a chair that has been knocked over and broken.
Is that the chair that I knocked over and broke?
Yes.
Lovely.
Or at least it seems to be. Because
Mm.
it fell in the exact same way. It looks like it fell in the exact same way the chair that you previously kicked had fallen and broken.
I'm gonna kick it again.
Okay. You go and
It
kick the
deserves
chair.
it.
You know, that's fair and valid. You go and you kick the chair. Nothing happens. Just the pieces spread around.
You know what? I'm going to put them in a little circle, so if I come on the room again, I know for sure that's the same room I've been in.
Okay. You put it in a circle and nothing seems to happen. Just chair parts in a circle.
Just gonna continue on my way.
Alright, as your character continues to walk, suddenly it feels like there's a headache building in their head. The pressure is uncomfortable but manageable.
Mm.
And after they go out through the next hall, the next room they are dumped in, there is just a line of electrical outlets along these walls over here. They're just back to back to back, all electrical outlets.
Well, no, that's useful to me. Because I'm old and cranky. And from the 80s.
Alright, does your character continue on or go back?
Let's keep going.
Alright, this next room that he kicks into has a hallway and to the left and a room beyond to the right. This room is
Mhm.
once again completely empty, and it seems like your headache is getting quickly worse.
Mm. I'll have to look something up for the joke I want to make.
Okay.
Dang it. Okay. I was looking to
Okay.
see when cocaine was used as a medicine.
Okay. That was
Not relevant to.
yeah, that was a foray. There you go. All right.
Keep going ahead.
You want to go
Keep
left
going
down the
forward,
hall?
buddy.
Do you want to go left down the hall or right towards the other room?
Let's. Going right has not been helpful so far, so let's go left.
All right. He once he gets to the end of the hall, he sees a very tiny gap that he could kind of like shimmy through, but he would not be able to just easily walk through it.
Let's get our shimmy on.
All right, your character shimmies through and finds a singular office chair sitting under a singular light just in the middle of the room. The singular office chair looks like it has fallen over and broken, and somebody has placed it into the layout of a circle.
Okay, so I'm going in circles. Wonderful. Can I shimmy back out?
Yes, you can. You shimmy back out,
Great.
and you're in the hallway. Nothing seems to have changed.
Okay. I'm going the other direction.
All right. This room is completely empty. There is nothing in it other than one hallway to the left and one hallway
Mhm.
to the right.
Okay. Let's go to the right.
This next room has one area that you can see to the next room beyond, sort of. You can see like this long strip of almost like hallway. But he cannot see, but there is nothing that he can see in the long ass hallway nor the room he is in. His headache is now slowly progressing into a migraine as well.
Let's keep going forward, even though it's probably gonna make my brain implode.
Alright. The next room is just as empty as the last.
How rude of it. Let's keep going.
This last room has a singular office chair. This time, not
Oh.
under a singular light. It is just a singular office chair in the corner. Right over here, there's just a single office chair. It's laying down on its side.
My instinct is to continue to kick things. But I doubt I should keep kicking things.
Okay, do you want to kick the chair or do you want to go back the way you came?
I'm gonna go kick the chair.
Alright, you kick the chair. It breaks apart. Nothing else happens.
Yeah. Alright, let's turn around.
Alright. The
Stupid
previous
chairs.
room doesn't seem to have changed.
Mhm.
Do you want to continue going back?
Yeah.
Alright. The previous room before that has a singular light in the center of the room, and under it is a singular office chair that has been knocked over, broken apart, and placed into a circle.
There's no way this is the same room. Can I go back to the room with just the chair?
Yes, you can. The chair is now gone. Your headache is now
And
officially a migraine as well.
alright, and then back to the chair with the big light. So the problem is these
It is
bright ass lights.
also now gone.
Alright, who's moving these fucking chairs?
You cannot hear anybody around you. You cannot hear anybody in the building. It is only you, the sound of electrical buzzing lights,
And these
yellow
stupid
walls,
fucking chairs.
and all these magical chairs that are teleporting everywhere.
Alright, let's keep going back.
Back the way you came.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to go down the hallway you have not explored, or back the way you came?
Oh wait, I haven't checked out yet.
Okay. 1 second. Sorry, I had a piece of toenail that was bothering the crap out of me.
Oh, you're good.
Alright, this next room. There is a singular light in the center of the room. Under that singular light, there is a singular office chair that has been knocked over, broken apart, and placed into a circle.
I'm going back to the hallway and I'm gonna go right back into the same room.
Alright, you go back. You come back in, it is still there.
What about the other room with the disappearing chair.
You go back, there's still nothing there.
Alright. Let's go back over here and keep going.
Alright, you come back in here, all of a sudden that chair is gone again. You keep going down the hallway, and you find yourself in a large, empty room. And it looks like there might be a hallway over here, and you can see into this other room down there as well.
Is there anything in there?
There's nothing in the room beyond, and then the room that you just walked into, there's a singular office chair against the wall with a singular filing cabinet.
Oh, so the corner chair and the filing cabinet moved have there. Delightful. Is there anything in the filing cabinet?
Nope. It does have
Yeah.
it has one drawer on it, but that drawer is so rusted you can't get it open.
Can I knock it over?
You cannot.
Aw.
You try, and it only gets so far. It's very heavy. It's very heavy built. Seems like it was built to last.
Okay. And the chair? Was it also built to last?
It was not. It is very rusted and looks like every other chair you've encountered since entering this area.
Can I use a piece of the chair to try to either pry open the drawer or knock over the whatchamacallit, because with leverage and whatnot? Or no?
You can try, but nothing happens. It is that rusted that if you try and open it, that whole thing's probably going to come down. The force you would need to open the drawer would be the same amount of force that take the whole fucking filing cabinet down.
I throw the piece against the wall and keep going, I suppose.
Alright, you
What's over there?
Alright. Alright. They walk into yet another room. This one is smaller than the others. In the center of the room is a large office table with desk chairs around. The table has a moderate stack of papers sitting atop the center. The very top
Oh,
paper
hell.
looks to be a handwritten note.
I'm nosy, but handwritten notes are foreboding. Let's go read it.
Alright. You pick up the first note, it's the handwritten note, and it says, "You are probably confused. I can't tell you much, but I can tell you that you aren't in the real world you know anymore. Continue reading these papers. The very next paper you have to read at the very least. Take some if you need to read later. But listen to the instructions on the next page. Complete the instructions, and come find me at Meg Base Light." And that's the end of the note.
Well, let's just keep reading the papers, I guess.
Alright.
I am nosy, after all.
Your migraine is now getting to the point that it's affecting your vision and hearing, albeit only slightly. You read the next paper, and the next paper talks about this phenomena called no clipping. It seems to be like it might be some kind of physics thing that your character might have heard about in passing if he had been in if he had any friends that were physicists. However, it's at least the way that it's described, it should be a physics thing. However, it's definitely something that's completely foreign to your character, and it describes the sensation that he felt when he arrived. The world not feeling right, your body pushing and pulling against itself, and that in a weird light, or as it's described in the note, in this typed out note, it is almost like a bright static. Does your character attempt the no clipping thing, or does he continue reading?
Let's continue reading.
Alright, the next paper looks like it's written like an almost official research paper. On the top left corner, it says level 0. On the top right corner, it has like almost like a crest, and then it says class 1. And
Mhm.
the paper itself reads, Level 0 is an expansive, non-Euclidean space resembling the backrooms of a dated retail outlet. The level is known most prominently for its disorienting layout and distinctly yellowed wallpaper. All rooms in Level 0 share the same superficial features with worn, moist carpeting, scattered electrical outlets, and inconsistently placed lighting. Aside from these qualities, no two rooms in the level are the same, with each area differing significantly in shape and layout. The constant hum buzz emitted by the ceiling lights permeates through every area of level 0, being notably louder and more obtrusive than ordinary fluorescent lighting. The buzz tends to induce throbbing migraines in most individuals, which persist for an extended period of time even after one has left the level. As the level is devoid of hostile threats, the only danger that Level 0 possesses is the evident lack of available resources, with many wanderers perishing as a result of dehydration, exhaustion, or starvation. Linear space and topology are significantly altered within Level 0, with it being possible to walk in a straight line, return to the starting point, and end up in a different set of rooms than one was in beforehand. Such properties cause the levels to be extremely disorienting in layout, with research suggesting that the confusion may be the underlying cause of loss of mental stability among individuals. Due to the barren layout and confounding structure of level 0, some individuals report experiencing intense visual and auditory hallucinations, with rare cases reporting wanderers descending into utter lunacy as a result of the level's properties. And that is the end of that note.
That's not concerning at all.
Alright, there's still a decent stack of papers under the one that he is reading right now. Does he want to continue reading, or does he want to snatch the papers for later and try the no clipping thing?
He's gonna keep reading.
Alright, is he going to read the whole stack of papers?
Would you be mad if I said yes?
No, I would not be, because I'm not going to read all of the stack of those papers. I'm just going to send you the links to the wiki so that you will have it, because your character is going to know this knowledge for the level. If they end up on that level, they're going to be able to recognize it from the papers that they read. So I will send you all of the links, but the levels that your character reads is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 37, 38, 41, 89, and 974.
Quite some jumps there.
It's just a random amalgamation of papers. Everybody got a little bit of a random roll of stuff.
Hmm.
Alright.
Yeah, he's reading all of them. We're nosy.
Alright, he reads all of it. By this point, his migraine is so bad that he can barely see anymore.
Delightful.
Is he going to try the no clipping thing?
Yes.
Alright. It takes him a few tries, but he eventually successfully no clips into the next level that he ends up in. Now, alright, so I'm gonna go. I just want to. Okay, so you're on mobile, correct?
Correct.
Do you see where it has like the home, the players, and the dice little selection on the top left?
Huh? Oh, yeah, this? Oh,
Okay, you're gonna
I
click
didn't know
into
that was there.
you're gonna click into the dice, and I need you to roll
Uh-huh.
2d20s.
Ooh, I can change with it. Not the point right now.
Alright, so 30.
Now I can change what they look